All right, good morning. I certainly hope and pray that all is well. Good morning once again. I hope all is well. It's supposed to be a hot day today. All right, so stay hydrated. All right, so a couple things. First thing, I did a Aries reading on my other channel, on my tarot channel, and I just did it recently, and it was speaking to Aries. You can watch it if you haven't seen it. You can watch it if you want to, but basically, it was speaking to Aries, someone wanting to give Aries a lot of money because of a game that they put them in that Aries was able to work through. So someone left a comment asking if I would, well, they didn't ask. They said, continue with this interesting read or something like that. Absolutely not. I know who you are. I know exactly who you are. No, I will not. What, so you can try to figure out what's happening with Aries or me? You think it's me? So you can try to stop it or block it or get your hands on it and do some more slandering and lying and manipulating behind the scenes. The fuck out of here. You're blocked. Every single channel you come from on my Instagram, that Russian lady shit, blocked, bitch. I guess you forgot you told me that's who you go as on Facebook. I saw the name, the Russian name. I said, this is this bitch. Block. Fucking pest. Groveling. Starving. Now they gone. A starving bitch. See how I can. Gotta be some kind of way to get something from this bitch. See if this bitch. Shoe fly. Your fucking gnats and fleas. Anyway, moving the fuck on. So, I'm gonna continue on with with this shit. Quote unquote family shit. These people are not my family, thank God. I'm going to talk about this first. And then talk about something else later. These people that I've been talking about on here, and people like that, and people who are going through this type of thing, have gone through it. Okay? People trying to sabotage you, think they're going to sacrifice your life and shit so they can get some money or your money. Pretend to be you, try to take your essence and your destiny and sway people and all of that type of thing. Bitch, if you're going to like it, like it. If you're not, you're not. I don't give a fuck. So you can play your little thumbs up, thumbs down game. Who cares? Anyway, what they will do, you're not enough. They want to destroy your children as well. When my daughter was an infant, and that lady who raised me, every time she would pick her up, my daughter would look in her face and scream and holler. And I used to look and be like, something ain't right. Something ain't right. Although I knew someone right anyway. But again, denial. Some of it was denial, probably a lot of it. But it was also, I want to wait and see. That was a lot of years of waiting and seeing. Now, when I was a little girl, when I was young, and I was like in my teenage years and stuff, I knew something wasn't right, but not so much with her, lady who raised me. In a sense, only in that I knew the way she treated me was different than the way she treated my sibling, who I'm going to talk about that one day. I've got some very conflicting views and answers as to who he actually, I don't know who he is. And when I say that, I mean, I'm not quite sure that me and him are biologically related at all. But I don't know. Okay, I'm not really sure. So I've been kind of holding off on that because I've been getting answers, but it's been conflicting. Okay, and it's been conflicting for a reason. So I feel like until I get answers that are consistently the same, then I can move forward. Okay, but I'm not getting that. And it ain't something I dwell on no fucking way. I knew I was going to get away from his motherfucking ass one way or another. Okay? But anyway, back to what I was saying here. I did express to her, and I used to say to her when I was younger, like, you treat him better than you treat me. Or you love him more than you love me. Oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. This, that, and other. Okay. But at the same time, it's so, like I said, it's so interesting, the seeds that this woman was trying to plant, thinking that I just accepted everything she said, although I just said, okay, because see, like I said before, I was a 72, born a 70s baby, discipline was different back then. You speak up about certain things, you might get hauled off and slapped in the fucking face. Okay. Which she had slapped me in my face twice. Okay, but this was when I was much older, not when I was a little girl. But that was the threat in the air, I think, for, a lot of people. Okay, I'm not just talking about her. I'm not saying that she was abusive to me, like beat my ass and shit. Okay, well, some people would look at it as abuse, but we just called it whoopings. Okay, all right. I'm not saying it was one way or the other. Okay, but anyway, so I would express to her over the years, from when I was little, you treat him better than you treat me. You love him more than you love me, That's not true. That's not true. And I remember kind of telling myself finally one day, okay, well, I'm just going to stop saying that. Okay. But I know what the fuck I see. Now, my babysitters, who were sisters, who I've talked about them before, they even talked about the treatment that they saw that was different. I don't think these women had anything to do with any of this. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't believe so. Okay. As a matter of fact, the oldest sister that transitioned years ago, years ago, um, she has visited me a couple times in my dream state. And has actually, I don't know what motherfuckers was trying to do, but all I saw was her come through in a rage and stop the shit. Okay. That was about maybe 2 months ago, a month or two ago. Uh, but anyway, I don't think they had anything to do with any of this, but they even noted, you know, um, sometimes they even would say things when I was younger, not like little, but when I was younger, like, you know, okay, one time we were going to get gas. We used to be with them on Saturdays, some Saturdays and whatnot, have fun. And they would take us, hang out with them at their house, go to McDonald's and whatnot. That was a big deal. You know what I'm saying? To me, at least. I used to love it. I'm talking about when I was little, okay, younger. Because I used to love Big Macs when I was a little girl. And I would eat them layer by layer. Everybody talked about that, and it was like, why did I do that? Because it was too big for me to bite into. So I would eat it layer by layer. Eat the top bun, then the meat, then the middle bun, and then the bottom, bun. Okay, the bottom of the bun, my French fries and shit. Okay, but anyway, so I would always get a Big Mac. That was my favorite. But anyway, so sometimes like we would go get gas or something like that. I might have been like middle school age, what y'all call middle school age or something like that. And they would say something to me about pumping gas because they would let my sibling pump gas. And I was like, I don't know how. And they're like, why don't you, know how? And it's like, well, she won't let me, you know. I was like, what you mean? Your mother won't let you? It's like, she won't let me. And that may not seem like a big deal, but to them, they were very independent women. So they were like, you need to learn how to do this, And I was like, well, I can't, because even though I was with them, I still felt like, I had to be obedient to my quote unquote mother. And they were not going to do anything outside of the boundaries of what she said. So anyway, they were just like, at times they were like, she don't let you do nothing. They would say that to me, you know. She don't let you do nothing, or it's like she trying to shelter you or something. Like you can't do anything. And what was I gonna say? I was a kid, and that was as far as I knew and understood. Like that was my mother, So I wasn't gonna talk against her. As a matter of fact, sometimes it bothered me because I'm thinking, this is my mother. Why are you talking negatively about my mother, to me? And even when I was older, they pointed out, they said, and I've mentioned this before, they said, you changed. Somewhere along the line, you changed. And I said, well, what you mean? They said, when you were real, young, you're real fiery, just, real free, real assertive. And they said, and then one day you came to the house and it's like, you was just like dead, like gone. That's, and I was like, well, what do you mean? They was like, you just were so docile. And they pointed out how it bothered them. Because they were like, you were never like that. And it's like, what happened to her? And they said they would look at me like, what happened to you? And I was like, well, what do you mean docile? It was like, all of that fire and fervor that you had was just stripped out of you. It was just gone. Okay. Unfortunately, I got my earbud in so I could make sure the sound stays up. And some confirmations coming through notifications, but y'all can't hear them. So, nevertheless, we'll just keep on going. Okay. I didn't know what to think about that. I thought, well, maybe I just calmed down or something like that. I didn't know what to think about that. Okay, well, of course, we know what it was. It was her black magic witchcraft. Now, back to what I was saying. Hold on. Oh, there it is. In regards to my daughter, when she was an infant, every time that lady picked her up, my daughter would look at her. I mean, in her face. And she would look at her, and then she would just scream and hollering, like that. And I just thought, okay, I don't know why she keeps doing that. And I said, but that's a telltale sign. Something is up with this lady. Now, by that point in my life, okay, because even when I was pregnant with my daughter, I wrote this lady a long letter. Now, see, these letters and stuff that I have written to people, it ain't a lot, but they may have circulated, okay, for people to try to paint some narrative, some lying narrative about me. Twist it. Okay? But I wrote her a long letter telling her, that pretty much you and him, talking about my sibling, I couldn't really speak on my dad. He was not around, okay? He was not a part of the dynamic, okay? Have treated me like, in other words, like the black sheep. You ain't never loved me. You ain't never treated me right. This, that, and the other. Y'all act like y'all better than me. You don't want me to have. You want me to be less than, and blah blah blah. This, that, and the other. That's not true. That's the same old shit. That's not true. What I had been hearing all my life. Yes, the fuck it is true. But I just looked at her. I said, and at that point I was a little older, so I might have said, yes, it is. Yes, it is. I think I did give her a little pushback. You know. And with her, whenever I would, point out the bullshit that she was on, she would just kind of look away, and it was almost, I don't know, like she couldn't look me in my face at that point, and just, I don't know if it was a thing of her feeling like I was catching on to the shit, or she was exhausted with, me constantly pointing out the truth. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But there are a lot of things that I didn't speak to now. This is coffee, y'all. I like coffee, okay? And then this one was raised, she was a big coffee drinker, okay? So I like to go to Home Goods. For you all familiar with Home Goods, they got all kind of coffee in there. Okay, so I done tried the Costa Rica. I done tried the Colombian. I'm not a big fan of Colombian coffee. I done tried now this is Joe. Okay, that brand. And this is some good shit. Okay. I also got a Hawaiian one in there. That's pretty good too. And I got 1,000 syrups. And I'm even seeing some of the brands. This one particular brand of syrups, they're not really that strong. So I really don't care for them that much. But anyway, this particular one I have, it's coconut syrup in there. It's so damn good. Okay. And I looked at the brand just now when I was making it before I got on, but I can't remember. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Okay. So I remember that. I said, when they said, I changed, I become docile, and what do you mean? And they explained to me what they saw and whatnot. It's just like you just became like this, real submissive type of child that you weren't. And they said it disturbed them. They said they didn't like it, and it was disturbing to them because, mind you, these babysitters that I'm talking about would start babysitting me when I was an infant. They said, we got you as soon as you were born. Okay, my brother was, I don't know, I think he's 2.5 years older than me or something like that. So they were babysitters, but their family was more like our family, so more like having big sisters, two big sisters. And because, again, I stated this before, their mother we called Mama because that's what they called her, and their daddy we called Daddy, okay? And we spent a lot of time with them, okay? Anyway, so back to my daughter. I noticed the same shit. I noticed the same thing. From how she was when she was little to her becoming like really kind of not so much docile, but just more inward. And she wasn't like that. She's a Leo. She was very much, uh, and when she was little, like wanted to be the center, you know, um, very active, just big, huge personality. Then somewhere along the motherfucking line, I noticed that changed. Now, more inward, more shy, more, like afraid to, or hesitant, I'll put it that way, to really go on out there, where she wasn't like that. Now, I looked and it concerned me for a long time, and I said, well, maybe that's just part of her growing process. Growing process, maybe, sometimes children change. So let's see. We're going to see. Now, I showed y'all before, for people who watched before, the last video I did. Okay, I called on the energy of little Miss Lavinia, who's the lady who raised me. And I'm going to do it again. Okay, Miss Lavinia, what is yes for you? Now, supposedly this woman is dead. I don't know if she is or if she isn't. Okay, who cares? Okay, stop, please. Miss Lavinia, what is no? Okay, thank you. Stop, please. Miss Lavinia, did you put some kind of curse, hex, spell, or something along those lines on my daughter? She's telling you yes. Okay? Now, what I was saying earlier, when people do this shit, and they're doing it to you, you're not enough. They want to do it to your children as well. Now, I only have one child. Okay? They want to do it to your child as well. Miss Lavinia, now we know you. Okay, let's just ask the people who. I can't believe that. Did you put some kind of hex spell, whatever the fuck, on me? Look, she answering yes before I could even get the whole shit out. Of course she did. Now, stop. Whatever that was that you did to me, did you put the same energy on my daughter, Miss Lavinia? Okay. Of course you did. Okay. So when that shit crazy over there, I didn't watch her fucking videos about me. Like I said, somebody who don't know me from shit. But had details about my life and my daughter who, bitch, I never even seen your fucking ass before. And you talking about my daughter at the time was 16. Now the motherfucker is gone. When my daughter was 16. Bitch, why are you talking about my daughter? Now, someone else that's a content creator on here told me, and it's not the one, it was Queen. I'll just say that. She told me. And she didn't tell me any specifics about what she said. She just said she was over there talking about you and your daughter and want to put a bullet in y'all head and all that. A bullet in our fucking head. You sound like a fucking dummy. An idiot. A 16-year-old fucking kid. And I was like, and I still to this day haven't watched the shit. Okay. And I'm not going to. Unless I need to. But what was it, last year? Maybe around this time, I can't remember. I showed all my daughter's accolades. My daughter ain't no bum. My daughter ain't no street urchin. My daughter ain't been out in the streets, pregnant, STD'd up, none of that shit. Bumping tacos, letting every dick that come along up inside of her, none of that shit. Now, my daughter is 20 years old. She'll be 21 in August. So I'm not going, she's an adult. Okay. I'm not going to sit up here and tell all my daughter's business. But the reality is she really don't have much of none. Okay, except the life that she's lived that I shared before with all her accolades and being here with me. Okay. All right. She was going to school. She was going to Culinary Institute of America, which is either #1 or #2 culinary school worldwide. Okay, she was accepted there. Okay, and she did a semester there. Okay, and she didn't continue on. Her choice. Well, it was her choice, but it was like, well, okay, and I'm not going into the specifics of why, because it's nobody's business. But it ain't nothing detrimental. She went there and climbed and acted a fool. No, absolutely not. She did not. Because no matter what Miss Lavinia tried to do or anybody else, she don't come from no trifling ass stock like Miss Zarita. Okay. And all I could say was, with this bitch lied to this crazy batshit bitch over here about my daughter. I think I asked that question before. Hold on. Okay. Now I'm going to show you something. Now I called on the energy of Miss Lavinia, who's dead and gone. Okay. Now I'm going to call on the energy of somebody. I guess the bitch is still living. Miss Zarita. Okay. The energy of Miss Zarita, higher self, her energy. What is yes? Okay. Okay. Stop. Once again, the energy of this bleeding Z, Zarita, what is yes for you? Okay. What is no? Okay. So Miss Bleeding Z, Zarita, you lied to crazy over there, Brianna, about my daughter, and said things to her about my daughter that were not true. Yes, you did. And did you also put some kind of hex, curse, spell, or try to on my daughter? Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Now, this lady who raised me had a nephew um, who transitioned years ago. He was a police officer. And he told me, because he ended up working in the, I don't know, the division. I don't know, sitting at the desk. I don't remember what the fuck it was called, the division and everything. But he said to me one day, he said, I would never, he said, based off of, which he was a predator his own fucking self. But anyway, he said, based off of what, the work he was doing, what he was experiencing, he was like, I would never put my child on the internet. You know how people put their children on the internet and they doing this, they doing that. I mean, motherfuckers do whatever you want to do. I'm just telling you my experience and what was shared with me. And some of the things that he experienced and encountered in that position, okay, working in law enforcement, all right? So I was like, okay. I think at that point, I maybe not right away, but I did take her off. Okay, maybe just some pictures here and there, but I did take her off. I didn't really share much of what was happening in her life. I mean, she was a kid. Wasn't much to share, because now this is me. Everybody do what they want to do, okay? But I just was never one who was big on telling the world, oh, my daughter's an honor student, my daughter this, my daughter that, and look at all her awards and stuff. I just wasn't big on that. Doesn't mean she didn't receive those things. I showed the paperwork of the things that she received, but I didn't show the awards that she got. The trophies and all of that shit from the works that she did. Okay. Always an honor student. Now, anybody, anybody, any kind of curse, hex, spell, evil eye, all of that type of shit. Oh, this is what I want to say. There's a lady here, older lady, who I would go to reading. I told you she had a temple and all of that shit. I was in her temple and blah, 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 this, that, and the other. But before that, A lady I worked with told me about her years ago when I don't know, it might have been back like 3 years in Cleveland, and she told me about her, and I liked readings and whatnot, so I went to her for a reading, and I would go to her periodically for readings. She invited me to be part of her circle. When I went to run her readings, I filled out the paperwork and everything, but I didn't do it, okay, at that time. And one time I went and I had my daughter with me. My daughter was, she wasn't even walking yet. And this reader, older lady, she looked at her and she told me her future. I didn't ask what she just did. I went to her another time, but my daughter was a little bit older. She was walking at that point, but she was still, maybe like a toddler. She looked at her and she told me her future, and she told me the exact same thing. I made the mistake of telling Miss Bleed and fucking Z. Who you thought that you were going to stop my life, and you thought you were going to stop my daughter's life, and you thought with your drinking blood ass, because you told me I drink blood, like that's sexy. Bitch, I don't give a fuck what you do. Didn't then and don't now. But you thought you was going to stop the projection of her life as well as mine. And you was going to siphon up off of me and my energy and paint yourself as me to the world and siphon up off of her energy. Miss Bleeding Z, is that what you thought that you were going to do? That was your plan, to do that to me and my daughter? Yeah, she's telling you, of course. Hers goes in the same direction as her fucking evil aunt. Yes. Protect your fucking children. Don't tell nobody shit about your children. Nobody. Now, unfortunately, that lady who raised me, I thought was my birth mother. She was around my daughter, and she was around my daughter a lot. Now, there was one time, when I lived in my grandmother's house. I used to make a shea butter whip. I would get the raw shea butter, melt it down and put oils in it. Okay, a variety of oils. Okay, I would, and melt it all down and then, whatever, let it dry and whip it up and whatnot. It was really good. My daughter had eczema. It was really good. It cleared up the eczema on her skin. I made a video about it. I put it on this channel a long time ago. My knees, I had the hyperpigmentation on my knees. And I put it on my knees, and I put it on my whole body. I didn't even realize. I looked down one day and that hyperpigmentation was gone. Now it's back because I don't use that anymore, because what it did was it kind of left a film, like on my sheets and on my clothes and stuff like that. So I just stopped making it or whatever. Okay, but my daughter wants me to make it again. Okay, but I was supposed to a couple years ago. I still haven't done it, so I might for her. But I just didn't like that film on my clothes and my sheets and all of that kind. For the longest, I didn't know what the fuck it was, and then I realized that that's what it was. Okay, I even had a scar on my leg that I got from when I was working out. I was training. And the lady who was training me was trying to get me to jump on one of them boxes, and I did, but I fell on it and I scraped my leg. Okay, the scar is still there, but it's a lot lighter than it was. Okay, but anyway, back to what I was saying. So I had a fire one time in my kitchen because I was making that stuff. I went upstairs in my room, and I kind of closed the door, but nobody was there. Okay, I don't know why I closed the door. I don't know what I was thinking about, but I closed it. I didn't seal it shut, but I closed it. I was up there for a long time, and I started to smell something. It smelled like cleaning agents. I didn't know what it was. So I sat for a little while. I thought maybe somebody was maybe, like my neighbor, maybe they was washing their car or some shit like that because the windows were, it was summertime. Windows were open and everything. Something said, I can't remember what it was, but I was going to do something. And I said, oh, I better go downstairs. And when I opened my door, it was like pitch black. And it was like it was so surreal because it was pitch black in that hallway. And I looked outside like it's daylight. Why is it looked like nighttime? And I ran downstairs and thank God, you know, I had forgot that I had that stuff on the stove. Okay. It was just in the kitchen, okay? But it did kind of, the smoke, of course, went out into the other parts of the house, like the living room and the dining room. And thank God my grandmother had a hood over the stove. Okay, some people don't have that, okay? But thank God she did because that's what contained it, all right? So as a result, had to, of course, the housing insurance, the homeowners insurance and whatnot, to call the people that came to clean up everything. And it took, I think, about 6 months. It was a kitchen. So all the food, all my appliances, all my good shit. I had some good shit. Okay. I had a top of the line juicer. I had a good top of the line food processor. Okay. All of that good shit, a Vitamix and what I had. They were like, we gotta get rid of everything. You can't keep shit. Okay. So they threw out everything. So my insurance, they were sending me money to eat. So, I was eating out every single day for like 6 months. I think it was about 6 months through the whole cleaning process. It took a long time. Um, and they had to take down the curtains, everything to have everything cleaned. It was just like, wow. So my daughter stayed with the lady who raised me for that period of time. Okay. Because it went into her school time. But this was during COVID. So, she was going to school online and whatnot. My daughter used to have sister Lotts when she was 5, from the age of 5 to 10. And she didn't want them anymore. So I sat there when she was 10 years old and picked them out. Okay. So she had a lot of hair, but right on the edges and in the back, it was really, really short. It had broke off. And those were the areas that it took forever for her hair to grow in when she was like a baby, when she was little, whatnot, in those areas on her and the back and the edges. Okay. So it was really fragile there. Okay. So it broke off. But we kept braiding it. We were getting her hair braided constantly. Her hair was grown and she had a big old bush. It was really pretty. When she came back from that woman who raised me, I took down her hair one time. Her hair, half of it was gone. I was like, what the fuck happened? And it was really brittle. And I was like, what the fuck happened to her hair? And I took her to the lady who was braiding it. And she was like, yeah, it is different. I don't know what happened to it. She had a lot more hair than this. And it wasn't all brittle and broken and whatnot like this. And when I discovered this, how evil this woman was who raised me and the things that she was doing to me and trying to do to me, I said, I wonder, did she put something in her hair? So I asked my daughter, I said, what did she do to your hair? Did she put something in your hair? She said, all she did was, grease my scalp. Okay, Miss Levine, did you put something in that grease? Okay, to fuck with my daughter and her hair. Look at this shit. Yes, I knew it. Was it what some of your little spell work and shit to I don't know, whatever your little curse hex spell shit is that you do? Okay, to mess with her and her mental space or her being. Yes. I was like, the fuck happened to my child's hair? And like I said, the lady who was braiding it, because we had a consistent braider, she was like, yes, her hair wasn't like this. Her hair wasn't like this. So it made me sit there and think about all those years growing up with her. how she used to grease and oil my scalp. What the fuck was she? What was in it? What was she doing to me? And here you are doing it to my child, my daughter. And my daughter was with her a lot. On the weekends, my daughter was either with her dad or her, for the most part. Very rarely, was she with me on the weekends when she was growing up. Don't, like I said, don't tell people anything about your children. Nothing. Now, despite all of that shit, and despite everything that my daughter has had to endure as a result of you wicked people, you're going to watch or you're going to pass the video around. My daughter has done well. Like I said, I showed all that her accolades and whatnot. That shit just didn't begin when she got older. No, bitch, she dead and gone. I guess she dead and gone. I don't know where the fuck she is, okay? But you have been on that shit for years. With her, just like you were with me. Or just like she was with me. I don't know how to say it. Maybe I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, as evil and wicked as these motherfuckers are, I don't even know. I don't know if the bitch is dead for real or not. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? The bitch done found out. Now let me just pretend like I'm dead. I don't know, but she could actually be. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't go to the funeral. I didn't see nobody or anything. I've never looked at the video of the funeral. Okay? But whatever. She did in my life, one way or the other. Okay? So don't tell anybody anything about your children. Especially, these people, like I said, a couple times I did leave my daughter with crazy bleeding. I think maybe like once or twice because I had a meeting. There was nobody to watch her. I did not feel comfortable with it. Some incestuous people like that. And I'm just going to leave that right there. Much of a pervert as you are. I remember one time, I don't know, we were talking about something, and it was something on your phone you wanted to show me, and you gave me the phone, and right there's a big old porno. People in action. I'm like, well, damn. I mean, you watch what you want to watch, do what you want to do. But bitch, you've been with me the whole day. We've been hanging out the whole day. You've been watching it the whole fucking time. Because here you give me the phone and the video is up, and here there are these two white folks in the middle of, I guess they was two, I don't know how many folks it was. And I was just like, what the fuck, bitch, I want to see this shit. Oops, oops. Okay. So anybody, I don't care who you are. Yeah, your curses, your hexes, your spells, and all of that shit that you threw on my daughter, I'm sending that shit right back to you and your children. Whatever you put or you tried to do, or set up with your candles and your jars and your nasty magic and all of that kind of shit to my daughter, to an innocent child who you, whatever, some proclaim to love or whatever the fuck, that shit right back to your motherfucking ass. Return to sender and all your children and grandchildren and everything that you love and hold dear. And it is so. And for you Christian motherfuckers, in Jesus' name. We're not batteries for you. Neither one of us came here to be batteries for any of your motherfucking asses. Or to be stolen from you low-hanging fruit. Trifling motherfuckers. Every single one of you. You're not going to steal her life force, her essence, her being, none of that shit. and may who she is and created and destined to be returned to her, and it is hers. You fuck motherfuckers are blocked. I'll do what you do. I get a return to sender candle for every single one of your motherfucking asses. And maybe a couple of more. Or as God directs me. Not you. Not what you want to get on here or wherever else and scream and claim it ain't right, or this ain't right, this ain't how you supposed to do it, and this mean this and that mean that. I don't give a fuck what any of you say. Whatever God tells me to do, how God instructs me, the Most High, that's exactly what I will do. Okay, now let me move on to something else. So like I said, I was talking to someone from the clerk of courts. Okay, I said that the last time I was on here, and I was telling him some of my situation briefly from what I have been able to gather at this point. And he gave me some instructions on what to do, this, that, and other. But I said to myself, I'm not going to get anything out of that if I follow them instructions. Okay, let me ask Miss Lavinia. Miss Lavinia, if I go to the clerk of courts, will there be anything there, any kind of paperwork there showing what you did, your thieving and forging my name and crazy ass Rita pretending to be me in the in the courts and all that? She's giving me a big motherfucking no. I knew that. I figured that. I was like, that would be a waste of time. So because somebody screamed and hollered, "Check the gang crazy," and said, okay, it must be there with them. And like I said on the last video, I showed where the pastor Vermin, I'm not talking about the pastor Vernon here. When I say Vermin, it is no, play on his name. But that other one who helped her steal from me. Now, I mentioned this, my great-grandfather was a founding father of COGIC, Church of God in Christ. Okay, here in Ohio and a few other states, okay? I shared his history a little bit, known worldwide, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking that whatever this woman stole from me and gave to her trifling niece, Z's, bleeding Z's, trifling mother, I am under the impression that in some way, shape, or form, it was in the hands of someone in that church. Miss Lavinia, am I correct in understanding that what you stole from me, that was left from me, was in the hands of someone in the Church of God in Christ? Yes. Okay. Miss Lavinia, was it in Bishop Chapman's hands? No. I didn't think so. What was left for me? Was it given, Miss Lavinia, to my father? She's saying yes. Thank you, Stop this. Was it then did he pass it on to my great grandfather, the Bishop Miss Lavinia? She's saying yes. So I'm going to ask again. Miss Lavinia, was what was left for me given to my father, and my father gave it to my great grandfather to hold? Yes. Was this, Miss Lavinia, what was left for me from my birth mother and her family? Yes. Okay. So, if this is correct, what she's saying is, whatever was left for me from my birth family was given to my father, and he put it in my great grandfather's hands, which then would go into my father's siblings, his sister Audrey, and his brother possibly Craig. Okay, Miss Lavinia, do they have a role in this? My uh, father's sister and brother, Audrey and Craig. Yes. I knew you motherfuckers was gonna come up eventually. I saw your motherfucking ass twice, Audrey. Okay, I won't be calling you aunt anything. Cause bitch, when the bitch started, when the woman who I thought was my mom started acting crazy, I called you and was talking to you about it and was telling you what I was feeling. So you probably got on a hotline real quick with her and Craig and who the fuck ever else to bury shit. Nah, that can't be right. That can't be right. We took care of granddaddy's money. We took care of everything. I know you did. Now my father told me when his mother died how greedy you motherfuckers were. I don't know if he is too, but he damn sure talked about you, the one in California, and him and Craig, my Uncle Craig, could never get along. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that's all about. And when you said that to me, Miss Lil Audrey, I said to myself, whatever this is all about, this was early on. Early on when I was discovering this shit. Whatever this is all about, she got her grubby hands on it as well. And this is why my sibling went and got them cousins on my dad's side to participate with all that black magic and that crazy ass dream infiltration. And them motherfuckers have a different father anyway. Okay, but whatever. As far as I can tell, in regards to what has been projected at me, my dad's sibling, my Aunt Reen, his sister Reen, my uncle Artist, my dad's brother, Uncle Artist. I'm talking about, oh, my Aunt Valerie, my dad's sister, half sister, but sister nonetheless. My Uncle Don, who died. None of them, in any way, shape, or form, well, everyone's gone. None of them, in any way, shape, or form, ever projected their energy toward me in any way. My Uncle Don, once again, my Aunt Reen, my Aunt Valerie, and her husband, and my Uncle Burles, that's her husband. Do I have everybody? Yeah. They never projected, did I mention? I think I got everybody. They never projected their energy toward me in any way, shape, or form. The rest of them did. My Uncle Craig with the call in the one time, with the bullshit call. my Aunt Audrey, just in what I've stated, I know she all in it. My aunt, oh, and my Aunt Teresa, she didn't project herself in any way, shape, or form. I knew I was missing someone. Didn't project her energy toward me in any negative way, in any way at all. The rest of them, yeah. The Uncle Craig with the bullshit call, my Aunt Audrey, just the way I said. Um, Aunt Lynn, Aunt Donita with the dream infiltration, the bullshit. They did. Uh, Now, my Aunt Valerie didn't, but her son did. Burles Jr., my father, with the dream infiltration twice, which I did lives on. Who's all the way in California. None of my cousins, my uncle Artis, his children, none of them in any way. The rest. Oh, well, I ain't gonna talk about the other cousins. None. If I ain't mention you, you ain't did shit. Okay, you haven't projected anything towards me in any way that I am aware of. Doesn't mean that you didn't participate. I'm not saying that. But you didn't project your energy toward me in any way. Those I mentioned did. That's why I said, okay, they're part of this too in some way, shape, or form. With this COGIC thing, that would answer the question as to why. Okay. Um, I think that's pretty much all I have on that. Let me ask, just period. No, I'm going to ask Ms. Lavinia. So did Bishop Chapman know anything at all about any of this? No. And I really didn't think he would. And it's a nice big no. I just wonder, from my great grandfather's hands, did my great grandfather, Miss Lavinia, did my great grandfather, what was given to him for me, from my father, from my birth of his family, did he pass it on? Stop. Did he pass it on to someone in the church, God in Christ? Okay, no. No. Did he leave it in a bank or something like that, Miss Lavinia? Yes. But then I question, how did she, oh, well, no, of course she always had access to it. Miss Lavinia, you always had access to it. You were entrusted with it. That's a question. Yes. Okay. Now, Miss Lavinia, was it, or I'll say was it a coven, some kind of evil witches coven at Jonas Temple Church of God in Christ, Miss Lavinia? Okay, yes. I'm going to ask her again. Miss Lavinia, was it some kind of evil witches coven or whatever at at Jonas Temple Church of God in Christ? Yes. Okay. Miss Lavinia, stupid question. Were you a part of it, Miss Lavinia? Of course you were. Yes. Okay. So, Miss Lavinia, did you, in your little coven, decide that you were going to sacrifice me? Yes. I don't think so, ma'am. No, the rest of you all who are still living, who are part of that shit. Miss Lavinia, some of those children who were from my generation that transitioned on were that was them some sacrifices y'all did, your little coven and whatnot that y'all did, of course. Yes, I knew that because I said it in the live before. Just period. Not asking her, is that coven still operating at that church? Okay. I'm not asking her. I'm just saying in general. So the answer is no. Okay. Miss Lavinia, did that coven at Jonas Temple Church of God in Christ, did that start with the inception of the church? Miss Lavinia, that question is for you. No. Okay. Miss Lavinia, did that coven, was it operating when my great-grandfather was the pastor of that church? No. Miss Lavinia, did that coven begin after his death at that church? Yes. Miss Lavinia, did that coven, oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Miss Lavinia, did you start the coven at that church? No. Okay. Miss Lavinia, did the people at that church know that I was not your birth daughter? Yes. She's saying yes. Okay. So, Miss Lavinia, I don't know all the ins and outs here about this money, but let me ask this. So, Miss Lavinia, you were trying to transfer my energy to Miss Bleeding Zarita? Am I being to her? She's saying yes. Okay. So, Ms. Levine, were you all trying to portray this girl as some kind of, at one point, as some kind of missionary evangelist or a woman of God, Christian woman of God, or something like that? Yes. Because, Miss Lavinia, that was the road that I had began to walk. Is that why, Miss Lavinia? Okay. Which I don't know how y'all thought y'all was gonna get away with that one right there. Okay, yes. Okay. Was that so this money that was, Miss Lavinia, this money that was left for me, so that it would go to her and her mother or whatever? Yes. I don't know how y'all thought y'all was gonna get that over. Not that hoe. Bitch, I don't give a fuck what book you read. Now, Miss Bleeding Z, we saw what was yes and no for her. It's the same thing as Miss Lavinia. Your little act that you put on, that you being some sweet little angel and all that kind of stuff, stop. Did you get that from that book that you kept trying to tell me to read? Yes. Bitch kept trying to get me to read some book by some white one about female archetypes. I don't need to do no shit like that. Put on a show and an act and a front about my being. Constantly. I don't even remember the name of the book. but constantly telling me to read this book. Get this book. No, bitch, I don't need the book, bitch. And that's why I just was like, okay, no. That's what I'm saying. People who do this shit, they tell you who they are and what they're up to. She was letting me know, as dumb as she is, that she was reading this book and was going to find some archetype to become instead of being her fucking self. And y'all fucking fell for it. I'm like, how do you fall for that shit? How do you fall for a person playing a character, but the character that they pretend to be playing, they're doing everything that's opposite of what that character would do? It doesn't make any sense. I'm a sweet earth angel. I'm so sweet and kind and wonderful and so holy and pure, but I'm going to fuck everything and everybody and get a whole bunch of people to gang up on this bitch because I'm jealous of her to destroy her. Y'all going to follow me? As sweet and kind as I am, y'all, let's kill her. You want fuck? I fuck you. I fuck you. I fuck you. I fuck everybody to get what I want. But I'm so sweet and kind, angel. Duh. And you just follow suit. Oh yeah, she's sweet and wonderful. Yeah, Nikki the bad one. The bad one. Like you're in the fucking playing a game. Like some kindergartners playing a game during playtime. That doesn't even match. The earth angel would say, if that person is doing those things to you, then we need to talk to that person or confront that person. Have you tried to talk to them? Like I said before, have you tried to talk to them? Have you tried to confront them? Now, okay, yeah, let's get together and do black magic on and kill her. Because that's what earth angels would do. You're dumb. Just stupid. And she played y'all like y'all was stupid. Like I said, and she played you like you were stupid. Anything I need to know. You were hoping that this would be in the upright, that I would be heartbroken. But like I said, I've been seeing the shit since I was little. And thank God I can celebrate being away from you. I don't give a fuck what you're trying to do and who you're groveling to and begging. Now, Miss Bleeding Z, you told people that I was doing things to you, bad things to you. Yes. Miss Bleeding Z, were you lying to people about that? Of course you were. Miss Bleeding Z, did you lie to people about me doing things and doing bad things to you? Yes. Because the bitch, why? Because you're a jealous bitch and you were jealous of me? Yes. So you set up a whole fake fraudulent scenario to try to be me, Miss Bleeding Z. That's a question. To try to steal from me and steal my life and be me. Yes. Nice big swing. Miss Bleeding Z, have you been doing black magic on me, casting spells and all types of shit behind my back for years when you were around me? There's a funky ass smell in here. Whoever it is, you can get the fuck out. Yes. It don't make a difference. Operate in self-love here. That's what I did. I don't give a fuck what that woman was saying to me over the years when I would question her and I would bring shit up. I didn't give a fuck. I just shut my mouth. And I said, I'm just going to sit back and wait and see. Even as a little thing, I'm just going to sit back and watch and wait and see. But I always chose me first, and I'm going to do that, focusing on myself. But seeing what these motherfuckers were up to. And here you are, you little powerless ass heifer, trying to get some money that does not belong to you. You don't want to do shit. You don't want to work for shit. You just want to lie. All that shit you did is actually work. But that's going to blow back on your fucking ass. The man who I called out, last name Lott. Energy of him. What is yes for you? Stop. What's no for you? Did you help Miss Lavinia steal the money that was left for me from me? Did you help her? Did you assist her? Yes. Nice big fucking swing. When you left that hello under that picture of me in that psychic group, did you do that to taunt me, stalk me, and harass me? Yes. The past. That's why you look the way you look right now. You look disgusting. You look like you're full of shit. Literally. Go take a clean out. A detox. Juice you some fucking celery and just shit for days, nigga. Spirit of Bleeding Z, Zarita, did you go to my father and bother him about this shit and groveling to him? Yes. Did your motherfucking ass try to be lustful with him? An old ass motherfucker. To get him to do what the fuck you wanted. Yes. Bitch, did you lie to my father and tell him that I did something bad or evil or something dumb shit to your fucking ass? Yes. Bitch, were you lying when you said that to him and everybody else but to him? Just so you could get some money and think you're going to hurt me. Nice big swing. You're pathetic. You're disgusting. You're trifling. A loser on all ends. I'm done with that shit for the time being. You nasty, rotten pussy. You want to bother an old man with that shit. And bitch, you did the right thing when you tried to leave that silly ass comment on my TikTok and you removed it. That's what you did. Tooted your ass up at him. I'm so sweet and kind. What about hiccup my booty? When in reality, this is what you are. Targeting an old man. That's enough of that. Y'all have favor. Peace.